So here the model at the time of developing a model form. So here you can define the HTML widgets. So what you can do is you can define the HTML widgets. This one. So here I created a model form, and in this model form you try to define the fields. So whatever fields are there, you can include all the fields here. Okay, and here you define the class. What is the class name is here? Meta. And you are trying to include the model. And what is the model you are including here? Person. So the model is what here? Person. So what person form is having? So there are number of fields in person form. So you can define these fields. So you can define all the fields individually. Okay, you can define the fields and you can define the field validations here, right? So you can define the fields writing here fields, or you can also define the fields here. So both will be what here? Same. Okay, because whatever data you input, so that data is input within the model. So what is the name of the model here? Person. So here person model is having a name. Okay, username and one more is password, and there is a email. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to define name. So name is forms dot. So forms dot which field? Character field. And here you are defining a maximum length. Now here I can use the validators. So here I'm using a validators. I define the list of validators. And where these validators are available in Django dot forms are core dot validators. So import. So there is a maximum length validator and there is a minimum length validator. Now you are trying to define minimum length validator. So minimum length should be some 8. Okay, minimum length should be 8, comma. I'm trying to define the maximum length. This is name, right? So minimum length I just take 2 and maximum length I try to define 20. So I try to define two things, that is a minimum value and maximum value. So here I've taken minimum value as a 2 and maximum value as what here? 20. So there is a name and there is one more username. There's a name and there's a username forms dot forms dot character field. Again I'm using validators. So this is a minimum length validator. So minimum username should be 8. And what is the maximum length is some 15. Maximum length is given 15. Then after that password equal to forms dot character field. And here I'm using a widget. Here I'm using one widget. What is that widget is? Password widget. I'm using a password widget forms dot. What is the name of the widget is password input. What I'm using password input. Widget is nothing but where you apply HTML input which are not available here. Okay. Actually, it is which type of character. But when you convert or when this is rendered, it is rendered as which type of password input. Otherwise, input type is what? Text. But you are converting input type text to what here? Password input. You can put password input. Okay, this is maximum length, right? Okay, then after that, this is a password input. Then comma, I'm saying validators. And you need to define the minimum length of the password. So minimum length should be 8. Minimum length should be 8. And comma maximum length is some 12. Okay. And here you can also apply. So you can also apply regular expression where you define the password pattern. Okay. But here I've defined only minimum length and what is that maximum length. You can also define your own validator. For example, password. So here I'm writing valid password. So this is a function. It is nothing but a callable. So you have to write what is this password? Valid password is okay. So here I'm writing a function. What is the name of the function? Valid password is a function and this receive password. And after receiving the password, now what is the validation for the password is I should verify is it password contain at least two alphabets and two digits and two special characters. So 2 means what is the minimum length is 6. Okay, so 4 if it is 4 letters. Okay, so then I said 8 here. So password should contain at least 4 alphabets and two digits and two special characters. Then you take the count here. So there is a count 1, count 2, count 3 equal to 0, comma 0, comma 0. So every time you are reading for character in password. So if the character is alpha, is alpha. If it is alphabet, I'm saying C1 equal to C1 plus 1. Else if character is a digit, is a digit C2 equal to C2 plus 1. Okay, else C3 equal to C3 plus 1. You are counting it how many alphabets are there, how many digits are there, and how many special characters. So if the count 1 means alphabets are 4 and digits are 2 and special characters are 2, then return. So what you written here? Password. Okay, else you are raising an error. Validation error. Here I'm saying invalid password. Pattern. I'm checking only pattern. Yeah, you can use it. You can use regular expression also. But instead of using regular expression, I write my own logic. Okay, right? You can use regular expression also. Okay, instead of that, I use my own logic. Like, is it contain two, four alphabets and two digits and two special characters? It is having four digits and four alphabets and two digits and two special characters. Then it return the password. Otherwise, it will rise. What is the error it will rise? Validation error. Okay, right now this is password validation. So name, username and password, and there is email field. Anyway, email field is email field only, email. Okay, forms dot, you can select email field. So email field, you don't require to check the validation here. Okay, and directly use as which field? Email field. Okay, right? So this is a meta and model is a person and these are the fields. If you want, you can include the fields directly by using which one fields. But what I want is I want to verify the type and validations. So because of that, you define all the fields individually. So here I don't require to write any clean methods because all this validation method is called by clean, right? So this is a forms.py, and after creating this forms.py, so you input the data and save this data within the model. You input the data and save this data within the model. So I think in settings.py, so define the installed application. What is installed application here? Application one. So this is my installed application. And then after that, use a database. So what is a database I'm using? MySQL. And database which I'm using is database one. Database which I'm using is database one or two, two I think. So just open MySQL command line. So here I'll just write show tables. Okay, now we need to generate this table. So anyway, database 2, and what is the user name? Okay, username of this database is root, and the password of this database is again root. Okay, and host name of this where your database running in. So it is running in local host. And the port number of your database is 3306. What is the port is 3306 is a port. So you are trying to define all these things. One is a database engine, name, username, password, host, as well as what? Port number, right? So after defining this, what you do is make migrations because make your database ready. Python manage dot Python manage.py make migrations. So make migrations. Make migration spelling. So Python manage.py. So make migration. So now person model is created and Python manage.py migrate. Now there is some error here. What happened again? So settings.py database 2. Go ahead. Uh, okay. So anyway, migration file is created. So problem, I think. Oh, user. This is uname or user. Okay, right? Yes. Migrate here. So here the migration is done. Okay, right? So I just now what we have to do? We have to do migration again. So make migrations or you delete this file. So delete this file and do the migrations here. So then migrate. So the problem is here. Here I've written uname, but actually what is the database? Yeah, user. Okay, now table is created here. So show tables. Now table is created. What is the table name? Where is the table here? Application. One is there employee. Use database 2 only. Show tables. So DB table only, right? What is the meta class here? DB table. So I want to create a table with what name? Person. It's correct only. Meta caps only. We'll just check this. Yeah. So after this, do the migrations by saying migrate, saying no migration is applied. So anyway, name of the table is name is person. Why it's not applying? This is correct only. So we are trying to create a database table with that name. Uh, migrations. Okay, right. So what we'll do is, so make migrations and just migrate. It's not applied. Or it's not applying. Database 2. So okay, it's not applying. Application 1. Hmm. We'll change the database name and see. So okay. So okay, but that should also work, right? So what is the table created here? Person. So there's no error actually, but why it is not migrated. But I changed the database name. I created one more database with the name. So database 3. But it should work with database 2 also, because you are adding more models within the database 2. Okay. So that is not problem with this, maybe. Okay. But not required. So so it is migration is done. So nothing same. Migration is done. Your database is ready, and your form is also created, and model is also created. And here we install the application and define the template path here. So that is a base directly slash where is your template folder is in templates. So create a template folder here. So create a templates folder here. And before that, okay, before that, I'm creating a view where you try to register. So this is nothing but a person view. Okay, what is this view is? Person view, and you are sending a request. So what is the default request method you are using? Get. So here, what I'm doing is I'm creating if request dot method equal to post. If the request method equal to post, so what you're if the request method is a get, sorry, if the request method is a get, what you are doing is you are creating one empty form from application one dot forms. Import. What is the form you are importing? Person form. If the request method is a get, you are creating a form. So form equal to person form, and this is empty form. This is what? Empty form. Okay, else if a request method is a post, if request method is what here? Post. If the request method is post, you are creating a form, you are creating a form, you are creating a person form by loading post data, request dot post. And after that you are verifying if form dot is valid. If form dot is valid, if it is valid, you are generating a response. So what is the response is you are trying to generate a response from Django dot http import http response, import http response. Okay, so here I'm saying a response, I'm creating a response here, http response, and I'm just displaying the message. Data is data is what here? Valid. This data is valid. Okay, else if it is now return the response. Suppose if it is not a valid, then it will create which form? Error form. The form contain what now? Errors. Form contain errors. And then it will come to this. And here I am saying response equal to render. Now this is common. This is common for get as well as what? Post. So post when this statement is executed if form is not valid. If it is valid, then it will generate this response. And here we'll insert the data. Data is valid and form dot I'm saying what here? Save. You are trying to say save and data is valid and saved. Data is valid and saved. This message I'll get it. Otherwise, the form is created with what? Errors. Otherwise, form is created with what? Errors. Then render. Okay, render request comma, request comma. You are creating a template. So there is a template called person template dot html comma. I'm saying context. What is a context here? Form is a key and form is a object which is a value. Then after that I'm saying return response. See, this statement is a common. This statement is what here? Common for the statement is a common for getter as well as what? Post. If the request method is a getter, what you have done? You have created one empty form, created one empty form, and this empty form is rendered within the template and sent as a part of what? Response. Suppose if the request method is not get, if the request method is what? Post, then it will store the data within the form and it is invoking which methods? Validation methods. If it is valid, then you are saving this form. Okay, it means you are inserting data. What you are doing? You are inserting data. Otherwise, you are saying return, return HTTP response. You are saving the data and you are returning a response saying data is valid and saved. Data is valid and what? Saved. And render request and person template, and you are rendering this form within this template. Okay. One is empty form, you are rendering it, and one more is form with the errors. Okay, one is empty form and other one is what? Form with the errors, right? So when it is with the errors, if it is not valid, okay, then create a template, create a template. What is the name of the template? Is person underscore template dot html. So create a template and here you are trying to insert. So you are trying to insert form. So form dot as a paragraph. But you are inserting this form under which tag? Form tag. It will not create a form, but it will create form elements. It will not create a form. Okay, form tag is not created, but form elements are created, like input elements are created. Form, and here I'm saying action or form method. I'm saying form method equal to what? Post. So when the request method is post, you have to generate CSRF token. Percentage CSRF underscore what is that? Token. And again percentage. And you are inserting form as a paragraph. And after that, if you want, you can insert all the fields individually. If you want, you can insert all the fields individually by using form dot field name and form dot field name dot label tag. So using that, you can insert all the fields individually and you can display the errors also. Getting on it. So form dot as a paragraph, and after that, I'm creating one input button. So input type equal to submit and value equal to some insert. I'm saying value equal to insert means you are trying to insert the data. What you are trying to do? You are trying to insert data. So form as a paragraph. Form as a paragraph, right? That's all. The next what we have to do is we have to run the server. You have to define URL. Yes, you have to define the URL. Just go to urls.py and define the URL. Application 1.views import. Application 1.views import. What is the name of the view? Person view. The name of the view is what? Person view. And here I am defining the path. What is the path? Is person view. I am taking an same name, but you can give different names also because this is a public URL. but here I've taken the same name. Okay, you can, if you want, you can take different name, but here I've taken the same name. Okay, so after that, run the server. Okay, run the server here. Oh, where is the mistake is? No, no. Oh, now here, see what is the error is. Now you can see create a model form without either fields, attribute, or exclude. Because fields is included and exclude is what? Not included. But whenever you are writing this, see one thing you have to remember here. So whenever you are creating a model form, now here you are verifying validations. You are trying to define the validations, but here you have to include the fields. But for these fields, you are trying to check all the, for these fields, you are checking all the validations. For these fields, you are trying to check all the validation. But I said here fields equal to what here? All. But you are checking the validation for which field? Name. You are checking the validation for which field? Username. You are checking the validation for which field? Password. You are checking the validation for which field? Email. Okay. But you are including all the fields of that model or not? Yes. So run the server here. Okay. So after running the server, okay, now send a request. Okay, send a request here. Now this is called which request here? Get request. Person view. Now when you press enter, it will send a request. Now this request is what? Get request. Now here you try to input the name. Okay, you try to input the name and name validation we have taken. And in the name, what is the minimum? Two. And maximum can be anything, but username. Username should contain at least username should contain at least 8. So minimum length is what here? 8. So Naresh 123. And password, okay, password should contain at least 4 alphabets and 2 digits and 2 special characters. Now see here, this is which field? Password field. This is which field? Password field. So I try to input password with some letters, digits, and some special characters. Then after that, I'm saying Naresh at the rate. This is a pattern, naresh80.com, and just click on insert. Now here it is given invalid password pattern. Why? Because the password should contain at least how many letters? Four alphabets and two digits and two special characters. Equal to will say greater than or equal to 4 and greater than or equal to 2 and greater than or equal to 2. Why? Because, for example, if I enter five alphabets, then only should accept or not. Yes. If it is five also alphabets also you should accept. Okay. So because of that I've given greater than or equal to 4. For example, I'm writing A B C D. A B C D is alphabets. How many alphabets are there? 4 alphabets. If I give 5, then only should accept it. Even though should accept it. If I say 4 equal to 4 means it should accept only 4. A, B, C, D, E and 12 and then at the rate and hash. So this is a password and click on insert. Now you can see data is valid and saved. Data is valid and saved. But where it is saved in the backend? Now you can just say star from, select a star from person. I can see the ID, name, username, password and email. Okay, ID, name, username, password, and email. But is it password is stored in the table in encrypted format or directly? Directly. The data is stored what? Directly. But generally in application development or in real time, you never store the password as it is. You store the password in the database by encrypting it. You try to store in the database by encrypting it. You never store directly password into the database as it is. Okay, na? So they use some algorithms for encrypting that password. Okay, okay, right? Yes. All means include or. All the fields it include. All the fields it include. Now data is valid and saved. So which logic is executed in this case? If logic is executed or else logic is executed if, because is it data is valid or invalid? Valid. If the data is valid, it is saved the data and yes, display this message. If the data is not valid, if the data is not valid, then it will generate which form? Error form. It will generate error form. Suppose I give the password like this. This password, I give the password like this. Okay, 12 hash dollar at the like this. And when I'm trying to give the email, I just give the email as Naresh. Is it this email pattern is valid or invalid? Invalid. If I say click on insert, now you can see please include at the rate in email address. Naresh is missing an at the rate. Ring or not. So you can display this. You can display this message. Validation message, validation error message. You can see the view page source. You can see, so input type is email and name is given, value is given, maximum length and required. See here, input type is, what is the input type is password. What is the input type is password and name is what here? Password. Getting or not? Okay. So now there is a password error. It will show you by checking the validation. So Naresh at the rate nareshid.com and I just give username is Naresh1234. Now data is valid and it is saved in the database table. And if you want, you can verify this validation before saving the data. Now you can also verify this validation at model level. You can also verify this validation at model level by overriding which method? Save method. You can override which method here? Save method. Are you calling the same method of the model or not? Yes. But where we are calling the same method of model? Okay, in the view, you are saying form is valid. If the form is valid, you are saying form dot set. But is it form is having a same method? Yes. But form is having a same method? Tell me, is it form is having a same method? Is it form is saved or form data is saved? Form data is saved by invoking same method of which one? Model. By invoking the save method of what? Model. Now you can override the same method in form or you can override the same method in what? Model. You can invoke this save. See, same method is insert. Save is nothing but inserting or not. Yes. This same method, it will create a model instance. After creating a model instance, it will save that model instance within the model. But how it will save the model instance within the form, within the model by invoking which method? Same method. Now you can override this same method to check the validations at which level? Model level. You can override this same method. You can override this same method with variable length arguments, with keyword arguments. If you want, you can send values. Now here you can verify. Now this is an instance method. This is an instance method, and here you can verify. Suppose name should contain only alphabets. Suppose name should contain only alphabets, but name should not contain any other characters. Then what I'm doing here, I'm checking if self dot, if self dot name is what here? Alpha. Is alpha. It will not generate any error. Rather than it returns what? It returns the self dot. What is that? Name. It returns the self dot name. Or you can also check in reverse. Now it is not alpha. It is not alpha. Is not alpha. Not. If the name is not alphabet, if the name is not contain the alphabets, okay, then I'm saying super dot, super dot. What is the method is save. I just call the save method of which class? Super class. I call the same method of which class? Super class. Same method of super class. Will it save all the data within the model or not? Yes. Okay, else what do you have to do? You have to raise the error. Else what you have to do? You have to raise the error. Raise. Then here you try to import from django.core. Django.core. What is the error type is? Validation. Validation. What is that? Error. So django.core dot django.core dot what is the name of this is validators, and you are raising which error? Validation. You are raising validation error, saying that okay, so name must contain, okay, name must contains only which one here? Alphabets. Are you getting or not? So validations can be defined at class model level also by overriding what methods. Now here I try to override which method? Save method. Because whenever you save the data within the table, before saving you should verify is it this input data is valid or not. So it means before saving into the database you are checking it. But when it comes to the form level, are you checking the validation before are you checking the you are checking the validation by loading into the form and by calling which method is valid. If it is valid, is it communicating with the database? No, it is not communicating with what? Database. It is just checking at which level? Form level only, not at the database level. Either you check it model level or did either you check it form level or model level. The validation is always done before saving only. Before saving only, it will try to check whether this data is valid or not. Getting or not? So you can also check the validation by overriding which method here? Save method. Save method, because save is a method of model. Save is a method of what? Model. Save is a method of model. Okay, it will try to save the data within the database table. Okay, but most of the times in application development, you try to check the validations not at model level, but you check the validation at which level? Form level. Form level validation only. Form, generally you'll say no input. Whenever you input the data, so immediately you'll check before, without communicating with what? Database. Without communicating with what? Database, I want to check is it input data is valid or not. So that can be done by checking validations at what? Form level. By overriding, clean methods, by overriding clean method, by writing your own functions. By writing your own function. If you want, you can write here. What you can do? There is an instance method clean. Clean, 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 clean. What is that here? Name. So clean name. Now I'm checking which validation? Name validation. I'm checking which validation? Name validation. Now where I'm reading the name. Now what is the name? Cleaned, cleaned what here? Data, and you are trying to read. What you are reading here? Name. You are reading a name. Cleaned data, you are reading a name, and cleaned data is a dictionary which contain the data. If name, if name is not valid, then it should raise what? Error. So if name dot is alpha, if name dot is alpha, return name. If it is alphabet, then return name. Otherwise, you are saying rise. Otherwise, you are saying rise. Which error? Validation error. Okay, rise. We imported forms dot rise forms dot. What is the name of this? Is validation error. So name should contain only alphabets. Name should contain only alphabets. Name should contain only alphabets. Name should contain only alphabets, right? So this is the error it is raised by overriding which methods? Clean methods. Correct or not? So how many ways can you check the validation? Field level, farm level, validators. Field level, farm level, and one more is validators. Now run the code here. Now verify. Now there is a person view and the name should contain only alphabets. Name should contain only alphabets. Name should contain only alphabets, but I've given digits also. If I say insert, you can see the message. Name should contain only alphabets. But this validation is checked by overriding which method? Clean method. This validation is checked by overriding which method? Clean method. Right? So there are different ways of checking the validations. Now this is one way of checking what here? Validations. Understood? So how many types of forms are there? Two types. One is a generic form and one more is a model form. Generic form which doesn't bind with the model. But model form bind with what? Model. What is the advantage of forms? You don't require to create a HTML form. You can create a form. You can create a form in Python by using a class. And you can define all input fields. All input fields, and these are reusable. These forms are what? Reusable. Once you develop a form, this form can be rendered either in one template or more than one template. And one more advantage is validations. Now you are trying to check the validations at client side or server side by using clean methods and field level validators or validators methods, and it is also provided some inbuilt validators. So that is the advantage of using form. Understood? Right. Then after this, let me tell you, after this, yeah, after this clear, right? All of you? बोलो यार ये समझ में आए? Okay, this is what we develop. This is a model form and we do the validations by overriding clean method, and even I try to use inbuilt validators. I try to use what? Inbuilt validators. Yes. So this is models.py. Now you can make it more simpler. We can make it more simpler here. Bolo, login. Okay. We'll write a login. Okay, right. So this is a views.py and forms login you want. What is login? What is login? Logout. Tell me here. Tell me what do you do in login, logout? The Anand Bolra logout. How to develop logout? First you don't know login. Then how you log out? Huh? Bolo here. So that you learn in setting session tracking. That you learn in session tracking. Now you can develop a login where you enter username and password. After giving username and password, you can verify if username and password is valid or not. If the username password is valid, you just log in. If username and password is valid, log in. Right? So just to see it. Now what do you want login? Huh? So create a view. Okay, create a view. What is a view is login view. Send a request. So this is which view here? Login view. Now where you send a request. What request contain username and password? What request contain username and password? Okay, login view, it read the request. If the request method is get, you are giving empty form. If the request method is post, you read the username and password and verify is it that username password is correct or not. If the username and password is correct, you generate the success page. Otherwise, you generate what? Error. Okay, you generate an error page with the same template, person template dot html for registration. Okay, so login view. In login view, if request dot method double equal to what here? Get. If the request method is get, now you create a form. You create a form. What is form now? Login form. So there is a class login form, and login form is which form? Model form. Forms dot model form. You don't require to include the, create the fields individually. Now there is a class. What is the class is meta, and what is the model name is person. Model name is a person and fields. How many fields you are including? Two fields. One is username and one more is what? Password. So I'm trying to include two fields. One is username and one more is a password. Okay, now this is a login form. I created login form using the fields of the model person. And how many fields are included here? Two fields. One is uname and one more is a password. Then after that, go to the view and import this login form. So this is a login form. And if the request method is a get form equal to login form, means I created one empty form. I created one empty form. Okay. If the request method is post, if the request method request dot method equal to post, what do you have to do? You have to read the data and validate data. Is it that password is valid or not? Is it username valid or not? Okay. Pattern. You are checking for what? Pattern. Validation means only pattern, but you are not checking in the database. You are not checking in the database. Okay. So request dot method equal to post. Then you have to verify is it this data what you input in the form is invalid pattern or invalid pattern. So that can be done by creating one empty form. That can be done by creating empty form. You don't want to check the validation. Don't invoke the valid method. Don't invoke which method? Valid method. Directly you can read it. How can you read it? You are reading username. Username equal request dot post dot get. What is the name of the parameter is uname. I'm trying to read the password equal to request dot post dot get. Post is what here? Dictionary, right? It is a dictionary which contain input data. It is a dictionary which contain what? Input data. I read the username as well as what? Password. And after reading username and password, I should verify this username password in the database by saying what is the model name is person dot objects dot get. Person dot objects dot get or person dot objects dot what is the method is filter. Person dot objects dot filter. What is the person is? What is a person is? Model. What is a person is? Model. Application one dot models. Import. What is the name of the model is? Person. The name of the model is person. I'm saying person dot objects dot filter. What you are checking for? What is the field name is? What is the field name is? Uname. What is the field name is? Uname equal to uname equal to uname comma password equal to password. So input password equal to the password exists in what model, and input username exists in the yes. So that is person dot objects dot filter. So filter, what filter returns? What filter returns? Query set. What filter returns? Query set. The filter returns the query set. Now query set is having different methods, right? Query set is having different methods. I'm saying query set dot count. What this will return? How many? Query set dot count. Count is a method returns what? Integer value. Now this counter returns how many rows are there. How many rows are there? How many rows will be there? Suppose if username and password matches, how many rows will be there? One row. If username and password doesn't matches, how many rows will be there? Zero. How many rows will be there? Zero. Okay. If username and password matches, there will be only one row with that username and password. There will be only one row with that username and password. Now this is a count. If the count is if the count is greater than zero, if the count is greater than zero, I'm saying return HTTP response, HTTP response, and here I'm saying welcome. Okay, welcome. I'm displaying the message. What is that message? Welcome. Otherwise, else. Otherwise, what you have to do? You have to render the same form or not? Yes. You have to give the same form with the username as a invalid username and password. With invalid username and password, right? So else, okay, else. Now there is a message. What is the message is invalid username or what is it? Password. This is message. Now here I'm rendering this. It will come to this and here I'm saying response equal to render. Okay, render request comma. This is login dot html. You need to create a template login dot html and this is a context parameters. What is the first parameter is form and there is a form. Form is a name and form is an object and there is a message. Message is a name and message is what here? Value. Message. Now how many values you are sending? Two objects. One is form and one more is what? Message. What message it is? Error message. Error message and then return. What do you return here? Response. You return the response. Now this is a count method and count method returns an integer value. The query set contain how many objects? Query set contain how many model instances or query set contain how many objects that is written by which method? Count method. Okay. Okay. Then next you have to develop a form. Now what is this form is? Login form. You have to develop a template. What is the template is login.html. Login.html. Check two conditions. Check two conditions. Individual errors also can give. Okay. You can define individual conditions, then you have to check individually. How many ifs you have to write? Two ifs. Okay, what you do is get first details. Get first details. That is what we did. Getting on it. So first you get the details with username. Then second you should get the details with what? Password. Because you want to check individually, right? Is it username is correct or not? Is it password is correct or not? Then you have to execute how many queries? Two queries. One is for verifying username. Second one is verifying password. If username is correct, then verify the password. So you should use nested if, right? So this is a form. So form method equal to what? Post. So insert the form dot as paragraph, and here you also insert which one? Message. But if message is there, it will show you the message. If the message is empty, then it doesn't show you what? Message. Okay. Then here input type is submit, and value. What is the value is login. uh, Token. You have to generate the token. So percentage CSRF token, right? Yes. Now you have to create a URL for this. So this is which view? Login view. So comma, I'm writing a path. And what is this? Login view. Same name I'm giving. Comma. So login view, right? So run this. So send a request to login view. Oh, local variable means where is that here? Where is the message? So make a message because that variable is not there. No. Yes. Where is that variable is in if block. But when if block is executed, else block is executed if the request method is what? Post. If it is a get, it is creating empty form with the message as what? Empty. What is the message? Empty. Right? Right. Send it. Send a request. So what is the view is login view. So where you need to input username and you have to input password. But password is visible. Password is visible. Yes. But password should not be. Then what do you do it? In the login form, there is login form. Open the forms.py, and here you have to create a login password field. You have to take the password field here. This is a password field, and you are checking validation or not. Yes. Okay. So that when you input, the password is visible or not visible? Not visible. Now this is a login view. Now where you enter username and you enter the password. Enter the username and password. Enter the username and password and click on login. Now you can see there is a message called welcome. Okay. Suppose if I give wrong password, okay, login. Now there is a message form. Form is not created. Oh, we have not created form, right? What happened in view? In view, it is creating login.html, right? In login.html, you are rendering what? Form. But in else block, are you created any form? No. In else block, you have not created any form. Then in that case, is it form is send or not send? Not send. Yes or no? Is it form is send or not send? Not send. Then what do you do is create a form. Create a form here. Okay, create a form here, which is empty form. You send it again. Or you send a form with the data. You send a form with what? Data also. Form with the data. Same data, right? So request dot. What is the method is? Post. Send the data. Load the data and send it. It's not Python where add two numbers. Python is different, web development is different. In web development, everything will be a dynamic. Dynamic means you write the code instantly, right? And when you write the code, you have to remember all. Because is it one program or multiple programs? Multiple programs. Suppose you forgot URL, you forgot settings, you forgot the form, then will you get errors or not? Yes. That is challenging. Not even numbers, odd numbers, prime numbers. LKG student also do it. Understood? Okay. So when you work with multiple, then you have to understand this. When you get errors only, you learn more. I'm saying no. When you get the errors, then only you learn more. Otherwise, you don't learn anything. So that's the reason if you get errors, try to see the errors and try to rectify. So invalid password pattern. Why here? This is a password. So you have to see the way. Yes. Now welcome. I try to give username and click on login. Now it is given, password is given. So it is given invalid username password. This is field level validation and this is form level. Okay. Login. Now it is given invalid username or password. But if you want this error message it should be organized properly, then you have to create a form by inserting fields. Okay, you directly inserted as a paragraph, right? So it is a predefined layout or user defined? Predefined. Okay, you don't want predefined layout because layout is correct. No, layout is wrong, right? So it is displaying this wherever it want it. But I don't want that. I want they should be organized what? Properly. Then what do you do it? You insert the fields. Okay, you don't create like this. You don't create like this. How you are creating in login.html, you said form as a paragraph. Don't use form as a paragraph. You insert all the fields. Okay, create. This is one paragraph. This is one paragraph P and right here. So this is the beginning of the paragraph and this is end of the paragraph. And what is the label is? What is the field is? Uname dot. What is it? Label, label, tag. So we display the label. We display the label paragraph. I have taken this as a paragraph. So beside that, I want to insert input field form dot. What is the name is? Uname. Getting or not? And beside that, you want to display the error form dot, uname dot. What is this? Errors. Now before displaying errors, you check is it error is there or not. If error is there, then show the error. If the error is not there, why you want to show the error? Don't show the error. This procedure already I said. So this is inserting all the form fields individually. Inserting all the form fields individually, or you can use predefined layout by saying form as what? Paragraph. But if you want it should be organized properly, then try to insert individually, but not as a predefined layout. Create your own layout. That is called user defined layout. Understood? Right? So this is a login. Login.html. Understood? Bolo here. Forms you understood form. What is a form? As an object where you input the data, validate the data. Form is an object where you input the data and validate data. Okay. So instead of creating HTML forms manually, you are creating a forms using Django. And the forms which are created using Django is a reusable. It is a reusable. Once you develop a form that can be used with either one or more than one, and at the same time it allows you to check the validations. And this form can be a generic form or it can be what? Model form. Understood? So tomorrow I'll tell you. Now till now we write function based views. Till now we write which view? Function based view. Tomorrow class based views. Then I'll tell you DTL, that is Django template language, you have some more tags that we'll discuss. But not today, but tomorrow, right? Thank you. We'll see tomorrow.